As the 2023 general election draws near, many Nigerians, including public servants and political appointees, have declared their interest to vie for positions in the forthcoming elections. With regards to this, President Buhari has directed ministers seeking elective offices in the forthcoming election to resign. Is this the ideal? Should it be restricted to members of the Federal Executive Council? What about those at the state and local government levels who are political appointees or public servants? I am Blessing Aichi, and this is Your Point on ITV.
The ideal, as established by law, by convention, by reasonable custom, is to pass up your current position so that you will have enough time and energy to pursue your ambition. The president asking the ministers to resign is within his prerogative and is very authoritative. It is actually a reminder of what the laws, the conventions are. You couldn't be a minister in a cabinet and you have not been given express permission or particular dispensation and you are running for a higher office. There will be a clash. So you have 24 hours a day. So how many hours are you going to apportion to serving as a minister, and how many hours are you going to apportion to pursuing your ambition to be president, even though you're currently a minister? So the president is right to say, if you want to serve my cabinet, remain. If you have ambitions to pursue, good luck to you.
Nigerians never care who rules them. That's why all these things are happening. Normally, you cannot be a judge in your own matter. And this directive is the right time and right thing to do. That if you want to be involved in politics, resign. You cannot use taxpayer money to campaign, to charter helicopter and others, and where people cannot eat. The right decision taken by either the president or FEC is the right decision. Not only ministers, all those that have been appointed, all those that have interest politically should resign their position and let us know. Really, if really they love the nation, they really want to serve. Some of them are declining. Where do they get 100 million from? But for this reason, anybody want to contest election in this coming election 2023, they should resign whatever position you occupy, so that you cannot be robbing Peter to pay Paul.
The directive by the president that serving ministers should resign because they are eyeing the position of elective position is very constitutional. Section 42 provides that a candidate for the election to the office of the president cannot be regarded as valid unless he nominates somebody else to be vice president. That is why the president now has not told the vice president to resign, because the vice president is elected, as it were, by virtue of section 42, subsections 1 and 2. Then 147(3), sub 3, provides that it is when a president is elected, ipso facto, the person whom he appoints as minister can then take office. That means simpliciter, the minister holds office at the pleasure of the president. That brings us to the idea of public office holders and public servants. Let's take the governor of the Central Bank, for instance. He's a public servant. He's an appointee. His letter of appointment states inter alia that if he wants to leave office, he must give 3 months notice to his own employer. And there is a provision in the electoral law which says that such a person must leave office at least 30 days before the commencement of the election. So it's a very constitutional issue that the president says political appointees should resign to go and contest primaries because they are holding office as minister at the instance of the president without prejudice, with exception to the vice presidents.
I think the best thing, both moral and other values, they should resign. In fact, that is the best thing to do as a responsible citizen of this country. You should be able to lead the people by resigning, because if you don't resign, you are taking undue advantage over other aspirants who are not in public service or who are not appointees. So it is better for them to resign. If not, they will use that their position in government to either steal public funds, to grease their own political campaign, or to go and use their position to borrow a fantastic amount which they wouldn't be able to pay. So it is better for them to resign so as to give all the aspirants free and fair opportunity to campaign, to test their popularity. Not that you should take undue advantage. See, I don't want to mention some of the ministers' name. See some of them buying about 50 gifts, dashing people because they want the delegates to vote for them. And those who are not having that opportunity now, they are at a disadvantage. That is where that section 84 section 12 of the amended constitution say so, that they should resign. But they are so adamant until the president forced them angrily to resign a few days ago. So it is morally bound on them to resign.
The Electoral Act provides for resignation of certain officers in public service to resign within a specified period before the conduct of the party primaries and the general election. So the president's pronouncement is not a surprise. It's just a compliance to the provision of the electoral laws in Nigeria. I think that it is proper that appointed positions should not be jeopardized by aspirants that are interested in contesting political office. What I'm trying to say is, if you are holding a public office as an appointee of government, either at the local, state, or federal level, the fact that you are aspiring to contest an election on the platform of any political party will definitely affect the performance and the efficiency of that particular office. And the issue of privileges of office can be abused to the extent of negating the essence of that office and creating a disaffection that will not be in the interest of public. Because public service is for the entire public. So any occupier of that office does so on behalf of the entire public. Because if you don't have a personal aspiration to contest for an elected position, there should be vacancy. That office should be vacated in order to sustain the content and the essence of that office. And the content and essence of public service is to serve the interests of the generality of the people. So partisan coloration or partisan admixture with the public service is not in the interest of the Nigerian public. So the presidential announcement or pronouncement asking the ministers to resign is in the interest of Nigerian public. It's in compliance with the electoral law, and of course, it should not be exclusive or restricted only to the minister that has served in the federal cabinet. It should be expanded to be inclusive of all public servants, either at the local government, state, or federal level.
I will tell you one thing, that many problems we have in Nigeria is we know the law, we know the constitution, we know the act we are supposed to follow whenever we are playing politics. But because we feel we are always above the laws, we always like to ignore it, like to push it aside. Let me tell you, Go to Europe, go to America, go to every places, they go themselves. If you are running for an election, if you are a political appointment, if you are a civil servant, definitely you got to resign. It's a normal norm, which they hear on news, they knows everything. But look at like Nigeria now, for example. We have ignored this aspect very long. Civil servant, in the first place, in the first constitutional right of the Electoral Act, already prescribed that all civil servants should resign when they are contesting. So that was already a standby point. That normally, but because the government does not implement, the INEC does not implement, the party does not implement, so we ignore it all through. It is through this last Electoral Act amendment, which is 8412 or something like that, they now added it that political appointees should also resign when they're contesting for any political position. Good, well known to them. It was signed by the president. It was signed by the House of Reps. It was signed by the National Assembly. Are they not telling me they are not aware of that particular act? The moment you go and pick a form, nomination or whichever form, that I'm contesting for this position, I expect as an honorable minister, as an honorable position wherever you are holding in the position, to speak up openly and write to the government. Because if the government does not do it on their own, the party is supposed to use it as a screening mechanism in order to reduce all these people. Now the president are giving an instruction, even though it is only to the Federal Executive Council, but by and large, I respected all political appointees. If you are vying for a councillorship, if you are vying for a chairmanship, you are vying for whatever position, House of Assembly, and you are holding an appointment of the government, write your resignation letter. Give yourself the honorable respect. Maybe with that honorable respect, the government might one day, this guy, he did very well, and he will be recognized. It is an obligation. It is not something we should even be discussing.
The views expressed by respondents have unanimously agreed with the position of President Buhari, who have asked ministers seeking elective offices in the forthcoming election to resign. The respondents have also added that it should not be restricted to members of the Federal Executive Council. It should go as far as all political appointees and public servants nationwide to enable a level playing field for all aspirants in next year's election. I'm Blessing Daichi.